Hey guys, this is Pastor Jason. Tonight's wrap up is going to be a video because honestly I'm tired and I don't want to type. That's just the way it is. I'm mentally, physically, and emotionally exhausted. It's been a long several days, and so I still want to keep you guys kind of informed of what's going on. So I made several posts throughout the day on Facebook. First piece of legislation for the day was titled the One Church Plan for Central Conference Implementation Time. However, that's not really accurate as to what it was. It really had nothing to do with the One Church Plan. Instead, it was a motion that allowed all the plans that were enacted upon by General Conference to have a time frame connected to them with central conferences. Central conferences are those conferences outside the United States that have unique cultural situations where they can implement and interpret the Book of Discipline differently in some ways. So, those are the Philippines, those are Africa, Russia, places of that nature where they're central conferences. So that passed, and it passed pretty easily and made sense to pass it and that type of thing. The next plan that came about was the Westpath plan. That was interesting because Westpath plan is all about our pension and health benefits for clergy and people who are employed by churches and annual conferences, and how they would be funded if churches left the denomination and those type of things. It was passed with an amendment. And it was interesting because as they made that amendment, my colleague and really good friend and accountability partner that I'm here at General Conference with, Chris Gadlich, said, I think the people have voted for this not knowing what they did. And we went to a break and came back, and sure enough, there was a motion from the floor to reconsider the amendment that they had just passed because it had put some things in they really didn't want to do. And so they did that, and then they took that amendment out and made some changes and then passed it. So again, that went through, and it was a pretty large margin for that to happen. Then there was a minority report. Basically, what the minority report is that it's kind of like Congress. When a majority rules something, then the minority still has one last chance to speak. The majority of the body picked the traditional plan yesterday in the legislative session. So the minority who supported the One Church Plan or the Simple Plan had the opportunity to come back and say, we would really like for you to reconsider this and substitute the minority's vote for the majority's vote. So that plan was put before us for the One Church Plan, and it was voted down by a pretty significant margin, 55%. Now that might not seem like a lot, but when you think about the number of delegates, that was, 30, 40 delegates, and so and maybe 20, 30 delegates, but it was voted down within that. And so it was the One Church Plan could not come back to that plenary session. So then we moved on to the Traditionalist Plan, and honestly, that's where things got ugly throughout the day. Protests and amendments and nasty speeches and people being called all kinds of names and we said it there, and we prayed a lot. I walked a lot because I needed to. Walked around the top of the dome and got my steps in, 16,000 some steps and close to 100 flights of stairs, and even did some push-ups every now and again just to kind of keep things going and moving. And we did a lot of praying and just for God's peace and grace and mercy. And so the traditional plan had several amendments that needed to be made to it to make it constitutional. I think originally there were 13 issues with it or something like that. They fixed some of those in the legislative session and then fixed 2 or 3 more. I think that the plan, when it was finally passed, probably still has 7 constitutional issues, things that will be ruled unconstitutional. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that that the plan was passed and it has become church law, and it will be put into the Book of Discipline. But the 7 spots So hold on, my buddy's telling me something. I'm pausing for 1 second.